Just lower your microphone level.
Hey.
Hello. How you doing? Great.
No,
So how's your neck time?
now we're feedbacking.
When is your night over?
The first week of February.
Great.
We got wild.
Great.
I think it's keep this low. We're on
Let me see if I
Mevo.
have it on.
See if we can
It's
do it
doing
all
it
together.
on Facebook.
Okay,
This going live the first week of February.
should
Let's see.
let's turn it down.
So I need help.
You have Facebook. You can stay in here to like do comments on
The
Facebook.
maps call 8:30.
But I'm gonna go open the house and I'm gonna go home.
You are going to do open house?
Yeah.
Really? I don't care. Run around that.
Yeah, you can put one sign, but hey.
But no, but the owners don't care at that price point of having.
No. And the first and second week of March is Bay Hill tournament.
Yeah.
The whole week.
I think it's better now.
Open there every day.
Okay.
They'll let you do that? Oh, yeah, well, yeah. You know, that's a great idea. Yeah, if you could do it. That's a little different taking on normal circumstances.
You wanna sell it, right?
If you've got an opportunity, oh, yeah, I just want to sell it.
The only thing is every day, I don't know.
Where's your lie?
Every day.
There we
All
are.
day long. I can sit there and watch people go by, you know?
You can sit there and make your phone calls.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Like this. Call easy, call easy.
Hey, do you renew that thing?
I didn't renew it. Sorry. I got a kid that keeps calling.
Okay, you here. Close it.
It's 8:07. I told you I'd be 7 minutes late, so here we are. 8:07. Let's get started. Good job on Power Day yesterday. It was on my calendar and that didn't exist, so I must replace now. Who played that game? Vince?
Oh.
Can you tell us about your individual success you had with it?
Yeah, probably the best one was, I actually decided to take, well, other than calling.
Can you give us like a quantifiable and then a quality?
Well, I wanted to bang out some expired, so I cranked through some of those.
How
That
many
didn't
is
really-
how many is some?
Like 40 or so
Okay.
dials. That didn't melt anything, but that's okay.
Okay.
Not worried. But then I said, you know, I want to really do my move homework, so I switched gears and just and it worked out good. I had a lady named Jupiter. That's she's a grandma now, and her son-in-law and daughter want to move to Tampa sometime.
Nice.
Of course, they're renting. So, who do you know in Tampa? Oh, nobody. Great. Of course, I got a perfect agent for you. Whether I do or not, I always got a perfect agent.
To
for
be
you.
determined, right?
Yeah, not more, no problem. She said, great. Well, let me know. And she wants to move there too. So there's some 2 buyers, referrals for Tampa.
Okay.
She already got somebody sell a house in Palm Beach because I had that covered too with
Right.
my downline.
So how many hours would you say you put into prospecting yesterday?
Oh gosh, maybe 2.
2 hours, and you got 2 referrals. Awesome.
Yeah, 2 referrals.
Good.
And some other, some other maybe follow-ups and stuff.
Tabitha, you had 15 people,
Yes.
and how many contacts? 386?
380 or 90 something. It should be right on that home page, right there.
394 contacts. I don't know why I wrote 9 first. 100, oh, that's calls or attempts.
Yeah.
Right?
Dials, yeah.
Attempts with 130 contacts
Third.
with 4 referrals. 2 of those were from you, Vince,
Yes.
and 16 appointments set.
Well, I think you might get rid of this one, but I get 2 out of it. It might be
Okay. How many hours would you say he did? 2. Would you say that's kind of the average that people were doing it for 2 hours, for 6 hours?
I would say maybe 3. And we started at
I mean, Nikki was here the whole time,
Yeah,
right?
she was here, but like,
cranking, yeah. So.
yeah, some people.
So some at
started
1, some at 5.
Yeah.
So you were to say an average of about 45 hours of lead gen time.
45 hours.
Times 15.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My house.
That's
Yeah,
15
those
people.
That's my house.
45 hours equals 16 appointments. That's where my head went. When I saw this, my head went to, this is just a mega team, right? Of 15 buyers agents, listing agents, ISAs, director of ops, all getting in the room together and booking 16 appointments. Debbie, how many appointments do you need to hit your annual goal? Good morning.
Good morning.
1 a week.
So So they're saying 50,
For me, for the year,
yes.
2 a week,
So you're saying,
2 a week, wow,
2 appointments a week.
that's 100 then.
so that'd be 8 a month, 96 for the year?
100.
Yeah,
What does that get you?
you said for my goals.
Where's the
That's-
birthday boy, Dan?
That's attached
Sleeping
to a 4 conversations, right?
Right,
Just.
that's 26
Okay,
transactions.
equals 26 closed. So by this math, if you were to take a mixture of cold expireds
130.
to warm database
She door knocked.
to door knocking, you didn't raise your hand and I said who played?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, he's like, what's your name again?
Bridget.
Bridget. Thanks for playing. You'd be proud.
Okay.
So you, from door knocking, so it hits the gamut of what we might do, right? So I thought this would be kind of cool just to give us, because in bold, one of the exercises is, are we efficient? And we can always become more efficient, yet this is kind of just a good, from the super warm Nikki Bateman's to the brand new, don't know what the heck I'm doing cold call, right? So you're hitting every gamut of skill and of quality and tact and so here's some just numbers that if 45 hours equals 16 appointments, then how many equal 1? About 3, right?
Yeah, about 30.
Yeah, roughly.
45 divided by 16 is 2.8. So we can say 3 hours equals 1 appointment off of yesterday's conversion, which is everything. Vince, would you agree with that?
Mhm.
It's kind of what you put in 3 hours, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think if we were to just focus on it,
Yeah.
and we could say in 3 hours we could do 1 appointment.
Yep.
45 hours also gave us 394, right? So if we were to do 394 divided by 45, it would be 3 hours. We would make 9 attempts. 130 divided by 45 equals 3 contacts. Now that's an impressive appointment to contact ratio, isn't it? Did my math go wrong somewhere?
Yeah, I'm sure the 3 hours.
5 of them were set by
Is it
Nikki.
9 attempts per hour, no? Is that what it is?
No, because if 45 hours, this is 15 people times 3. So 45 hours
45 man hours.
created these results. Whether it's 1 person or 15 people. You can just take it with you if you want.
Well, it's just you can't see it from online. But
Try to draw bigger. 'Cause this is extremely efficient. Now you said 5 of them were from Nikki?
So
Yeah.
Yes.
If I do like 394 by 45 hours, it gives me the number of attempts per hour.
Not,
No? Yeah.
is it per hour?
Yeah.
It is per hour. Thank you. 27,
Yeah.
9. That's where I asked where the math was wrong. I was like,
Yeah,
that's not panning out. Thank you for that. Okay. And then with this, then, if we did 45 divided by 4, no, 4 divided by 45 times 3, right? Because we have 3 hours. It should get you 0.25 referrals. And 16 divided by 45 times 3 equals your 1 appointment. So this now becomes, for you, Deb, or for you guys who need 50, or for whatever we need for our appointment number, here becomes a starting point of what we would get. So Deb, you need 96 of these, right?
Right.
So if you need 96, then multiply all of these by 96. Well, at least these. 9 times 96.
300
864, close.
Huh? Yeah, we're going 300, we're gonna take the 16 out.
Oh, you were doing math in your head. 27 times 96.
A lot.
And 3 times 96. Follow?
So like
Yeah, you're at the funky
288
stage in the
hours.
math, I know where you're going.
So for you to hit your goal based off of
Right.
warm to cold to skilled
Per
to
year?
new to teed up to
Average.
Grand Slam, right? You should plan to have 288 hours of lead gen time, to make 2,592 attempts, to have 864 conversations, to book 896 appointments. Right? And it's kind of how my head went here is like, well, if 15 people can do that, then one person can do it 15 times.
Right, and then you have to chunk it down.
How many times do we have to do it to hit our goal? And chunk it down. So this is annual, right?
Right.
So chunk it down for me. I'm a big chunker. I'm chunking things down. 288 divided by 12 is 24 hours a month. Seems low, huh?
Yeah.
That seems really though, that's only 6 hours a
It's
week.
like 3 days a
Well, didn't
Week
you
full
did
time,
an
and that's where
example on
it
here
blows.
when you were netting 20,000, you only need 4 to 6 hours of lead gen a week.
It's true, I mean, we, that's the thing, when we get to those big numbers, and whenever I was teaching Ignite, we would get to those big numbers, and I'd be like, alright, it's getting funky, watch this. And then
you chunk it down, it gets
and then you
real.
chunk it down, and it's like, oh, well, that's totally doable.
Mhm.
Right.
Because realistically, isn't prospecting the include the planning, the talking, and the follow-up? So
I
This,
feel
this
like
I
it
think
is.
The
was,
different people you talk to.
this was
say
go
different
time.
I
things.
feel like it
no.
is.
Okay.
What's that?
Like including, like setting up things you're talking about in that time?
Oh,
Planning who you're going to prospect, or,
I
you know,
wouldn't count that as part.
That's,
some people say.
if a
the
restaurant
3
opens at
hours
11,
are-
you get there at 9:30, they make
So,
sure the food's
yeah.
prepped to open at 11. So from leaving here, if we're gonna lead gen at 9, but you don't have a clue of what you're gonna do to do it,
Right,
you're not lead genning at 9, you're prepping your lead gen at 9, and you're lead genning at 9:30,
right.
right?
Then you're not really.
To me, this is when you're open. And if it takes you an hour of prep for every hour of due, or a
So-
half hour of prep to an hour of due and a half hour of follow,
So in that case, it averages out to a little over an hour a day, 5
Due
days a
time.
week
Right.
of go time
Of
or
working,
whatever,
right.
yes.
That's what it was down to, we go through this, yeah.
we go through it all the time. What I love is yesterday gave us actually
Some more.
a complete, like, we've been talking about it and writing about it forever. Let's go have 15 guinea pigs, give this thing a shot.
More validation, yeah,
And they did.
confirms the numbers.
It's kind of there. And so this gets you 26 closings.
And that's even off because it's actually 1.5 appointments a week. So it's 6
So you
appointments a
rounded up,
month,
yeah.
so I round up
No,
to
no,
2.
no, no, wait a minute. So,
For
in
me,
this-
for my
in
numbers.
this exercise, it's 3 hours gives you one appointment, which is, you know, not.
I can
not-
almost,
not quite every day, I mean.
I would argue that if you actually did, like continuously did, 3 hours a day,
Concentrated.
not
Yeah,
thinking about preparing
Right.
to or with interactions and distractions.
right.
You get an appointment a day?
Yeah.
It's like the
3-1,
difference,
right? 20
it's like the
contracts, 3
difference
hours,
between the
20.
Kool-Aid pack and the Kool-Aid in the water.
Do you hear what he just said? What was shift? They
20.
said what would be the shift goal that we should be able
3
to
hours a
achieve?
day, 20 contacts a day,
One
one
appointment.
appointment.
3 hours,
Don't
20
stop.
contacts,
stop.
3
That's-
hours.
one appointment.
Hit them
And
all.
not mutually
What did this
exclusive.
tell us? 3 hours, 20, so what, 9 contacts? Right, so this would even say, because 1 out of 9, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why
It's-
there's a mixture, maybe who people were calling too, it wasn't all, I do a lot of cold calling.
It's just a
But
little over 10%.
Yes.
So let's visit the MREA.
1.8%.
Hello.
I think the cold
10%.
percentage would be a lot higher, of course, right, you wouldn't,
Well, it-
you wouldn't, I would lower, right, you wouldn't see as many contacts.
Here's gonna be the outliers, because you mentioned one person got 5 of these.
Yes.
Georgia Alpazar is a regional director, and oftentimes when we go to regional classes or meetings, she would say, bring a list, and for 30 minutes before lunch, we're gonna go make calls. And then you have to report out what you did. And we'd have 30 team leaders in the room, and they'd come back and be like, pop, 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 and they'd give numbers that were just, hit your weekly goal. Like, I booked 7 appointments. In 30 minutes, you booked
Right.
7 appointments?
Really? Yeah.
And so what we found, and I shared it with her, she's like, why can't we always do this? I said, because we save our best ones for like showtime.
Right.
Mhm.
It's
Right?
like when you,
That's like
when you,
bold, right?
when
It's
you
like-
were about to start bold,
It's
yeah,
like-
and
it's
I
like,
got nothing.
I
I'm
noticed
like,
an appointment.
carefully
So I'm
selected
gonna call them during
contacts.
power day to really get an edge,
why
right?
do people go-
But I could have called
I
last
get
night.
nothing.
Yeah.
So I think over time, this normalizes.
Normalizes.
Normalizes? That's what I'm looking for. Yet this is kind of a snapshot in time that says, are we even starting it? And so I'm on a habits kick right now. Are we focused on our habits?
I guess as more you do it, and the more consistent you do it, and you practice it, then it gets to a point that you just like,
Your conversion gets
you
better.
got over your own, it's like pushing a car, it's very hard to push the car at the beginning, once you get it going, it's easier.
Law of momentum.
Yeah.
That's what you just
That's
described,
what
right? And so I don't, and I would venture to say most of us don't, maybe one of you do, maybe two, could tell me what your percentages are. Right? Because to me, if that's what I was thinking, probably Vince and maybe Deb.
Yeah, me too.
Sounds like I can't.
Okay, that's what you were the maybe, he was the probably.
You probably.
Before I miss
I'm
that
getting,
part, it
I'm
was-
getting closer to
Could
knowing.
tell me
Yeah,
what your
it's getting
percentages
better
are.
You
Oh,
have to track.
Right? And so, my aha when I looked at that little thing she made was, that's them, what's me? And if this is really all that matters, and everything else is to make this easier or unnecessary, and I don't even know what that is, like that becomes a gap. And so how am I gonna know what this is for me?
Start tracking it.
Track.
Start doing it,
Yeah.
start tracking it, and do it consistently.
That's the key.
So, one thing we've really aimed to do is 9 a.m. start. And with a business partner, especially because things are all just new, like everything's new. So maybe for you and Chuck, and even still, right? You come in the office and you naturally want to say, "Hey, good morning," and what do?
How
Just
were
kind
you?
of process.
Yeah.
How's your night? Oh, fun. How was yesterday? Good. Cool. What's that going to follow up to? What do you have today? And all of a sudden,
It's 10 o'clock.
and it's been happening a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it's needed, and a lot of it's going, this could have waited. So she's coming in at 9, and she said, we've got a grand opening with like 150 people coming Saturday, and there's still some loose ends, and we're like, ah. So she said, I've got this at 8 o'clock, I got this at 9 o'clock, or I'm coming in at 9, I would like to just unpack and do prep up for grand opening. Yes, Ed.
Have you thought about maybe doing that at night,
Doing what at night?
that conversation?
The recap
You
conversation.
know, like, choose one time on the evening.
I'll tell you what
Just
we-
call, you call each other, and you say, okay, so how's your day today, but you get over that, so you will have less in the morning to talk about.
No.
No, that's, no.
I've got 3 kids, and I cannot predict my nights, and typically you want feet up, wind down.
And that's not fair to your family.
No, but it'll be-
Every night at 7:30, I'm gonna check out for 20 minutes, that's not fair.
So what we did was saying at 10:30 to 11 is when we do that. And so it's come in, and I said, how about we make calls 9 to 10:30, and at 10:30 we'll process. And then the rebuttal came back, we got team meeting, we might need more than a half hour. And so where we compromised was, at least let me start at 9. And if at 9:30 we need to stop, then we stop. But I want us to get in the habit of at 9 o'clock I'm gonna at least start. I'm gonna at least do something. Versus take care of whatever a fire is and then hopefully I can start. I'd rather start and not finish than not start at all.
I kind of, on the same idea, had in my mind, somebody told me a while ago to have an opening activities, and it might have been you actually, a list of opening activities to do every morning, set time, and then closing activities. And you don't do those items outside of that time.
Mm-hmm.
So at like 8 o'clock, from 8 to 8:30, check the email, put out any fires, check Facebook, do the happy birthday post, do text, that kind of thing. And that way, and it's set, and then at 8:30, it's done.
I'm gonna argue a little bit of that. It sounds a little bit of me, not a lot of me. This is on fire. It's not quite out yet, but it's 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do?
Well, it depends on how raging the fire is.
It's if I walk away, it's gonna get more raging. I'm at least aware of
You
it.
should walk away.
What's
You
that?
shouldn't- Technically, you should walk away, 'cause you shouldn't.
By that rule, I'm walking away, and this thing's gonna burn.
That's where the replace, don't erase would come in.
But then you just within 30 seconds, I broke that rule.
Well, then you're not supposed to let current.
Don't even know this fire is happening until whatever time you want to go address a fire. Right now, there's a house burning somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know about it, therefore we are not helping.
But there's nothing we can do about it. Now or in 2 hours.
If we knew about it, we'd probably try to do something.
But if it's in California, we can't do anything about it.
Leverage.
We'd call someone.
Fire department.
If I had a hidden camera on a property in California and nobody was out there and I see a fire starting, I'd do something about it.
Right, so you could call somebody, but then there's nothing else you can do, so you've done what
Cool,
you
so
can do,
that's-
and let somebody else
You can
deal with
follow
it.
up.
Great, but what if you could do something? The point is, if we allow ourselves to be exposed to what will probably hijack our most important thing of the day, then we're almost going, come on, give me that curveball. I'm ready for just get a punch in the stomach this morning. Right? You're almost inviting it in. What if you didn't even open your email until 10 o'clock?
But that's essentially what you were saying though with Debbie. We're gonna have our 9 to 9:30 time, and then 9:30 we're gonna stop.
We're doing the important one first and then taking care of a fire. First taking care of a fire and hopefully it simmers down so I can go to the important stuff. And this isn't saying do it. This is me talking, right? That's a lot of what you get now is what my head's going through and my maps coaching calls.
Yeah, I
It's,
get it.
what is the is it one of the you don't have to
How can I ignore fires?
be great to start. You don't have to be great at the start. You do have to start to be great. Something like that.
Right, yeah, okay, I know.
Right?
Mhm.
It's like if the goal is that we become just 9 to 11 machines, you don't get there cold turkey. You get there by being a 9 to 9:15 machine. I'm never going to become a 9 to 11 machine if I can't even get a 9 to 9:01 machine. Right? That's kind of where I'm going. Of if I'm inviting distractions in that I know will keep just hijacking my 9 to 9:01. What if we talk about win the day? Just go win the minute. Just go win the call. And that's something, and I know that I'm coming with habits, good and bad. Debbie's coming with habits, good and bad. And then we're not going to just be in sync day one. We both would like the same thing. I think all of us in this room would like to be those people. And I know that if we can go 9 to 9:15, we both made 3 dials. That's better than we did yesterday. That's a win, right? And so if you didn't make any calls yesterday, or you didn't start when you wanted to, make the commitment of going, I'm going to make 1 on time today. And then after that, if I have that like email itch and I just got to go look at it, then go do it after you make that 1 call on time. But then tomorrow, what do you have to do if you made 1 call on time today? 2. And that's where I think we can get where we want to go, is just do better by 1% every day. With the most important things.
The University of Alabama has a hashtag that they use all the time. It's outwork yesterday.
Perfect.
I try to emulate that.
Scott?
Some days are better than others.
Well, and I was talking to my coach about this because it is a goal, it is a desire, and on the call, my first call was last Tuesday, so you guys now will get me like 8 hours after my call, so usually it can be just fresh content. My call is with her on Tuesday afternoons, and I'm Wednesday morning here. So on Tuesday, this comes up, she says, oh, when do you need to start? I was like, well, tomorrow. Like, what else do you say? And then what did I do last Wednesday? Not. Because we came in with like torches, Rome burning, extensions, deals falling apart, unconditional withdrawals, like
The fires that you couldn't walk away from.
like massive, like California fire.
Right.
So I asked my coach, what do we do? She says you plan to do it and you expect that 20% of the time your plan gets hijacked. And if you can stay on point 80% of the time and allow 20% of one day a week your day gets hijacked, cool. I planned for that.
Which is essentially what you were, responds to what you were just saying with what about the fire that you can't put out. That's,
What
you
I want
have
to
an
do,
allowance for that.
I want to eliminate as many distractions as possible.
Mm-hmm.
If someone calls me and texts me, that's like a fire in my backyard, right? I can't hide from that. If I go look for it, because the reality of what I thought about with I'm coming in at 9 o'clock and let's talk about this event, what if I had a doctor's appointment until 10:30? Would we have waited until 10:30 to talk about the event?
No.
Sure we would have. We had a doctor's appointment. Right? We wouldn't have been like, cancel the doctor's appointment, I'm coming in. We would have said, no, we'll get to it. It's Wednesday morning, we'll get to it. Yeah.
I'm thinking back a couple of Wednesdays ago, whenever I was talking about how my goal this year is to do planning, you said, yeah, plans, well, we'll never get around to doing those plans. And what
That sounds like a
I'm
rude
hearing,
thing, I'm sorry.
No, but the point is, however it comes out rude or not, but the point is that you got the idea. The gist is, I understand even from the conversation that I'm hearing now from you is, yes, things will happen. And my take on it from a couple weeks ago that is kind of, even though it's not perfect, is yes, prospecting is really simple if you plan it out each day of what you're going to do and doing something that you enjoy doing and you know it's easy for you to do. But if you do have that emergency that comes in and you can't do the prospecting until 1 o'clock, you're still going to get it done.
That's
Just-
what I'm saying. Replace, don't erase. Get
So-
it done. Yeah.
Because yes, we get
Sometimes you
distracted
have
all
to.
the time, and we're not even close to what your production is. So I can just imagine when
My
you
production's
have
zero.
so many different things.
I've closed
going on.
nothing.
But
I haven't
and-
closed a house since 2011.
And you're talking about the interruptions and the unconditional withdrawals and things to that degree.
Yeah.
But knowing that each day you have, or 3 days a week, whatever your schedule is, this is what your prospecting idea is, and you'll get it done even if they distract you. My goal is to do everything at this time, but that's not true all the time.
Statistically, 1 out of 1,000 skydives will have a malfunction that you might need to pull your backup chute. We were prepared for that when I was a skydiver.
So you have a plan. So I think everything you're saying is, you have to start. First you have the plan, then you have to start. And once you start, you gotta find a way to continue improving every day on it.
But just like your numbers, don't go each day until you have an appointment. I'm still not there.
Right.
But that is.
And I'm not there either because I'm not willing and or able just to keep snoozing everything else. Right?
Right.
That's why I would like to be there as a goal, maybe not an absolute, and I need to evaluate that says, now, are there certain days that I might be able to clear my schedule that says, wife, I might not be home to get the kids. Wife, I might not be home with it. I may or may not be to see me today at 11. But if, to me, once I make a commitment to somebody, professionally or personally, I have a hard time snoozing it unless they're on board with me snoozing it. I love that intentionality, and maybe I'd like to be there one day. I'm just not there right now. Because again, I'm not planning for that.
Mhm.
If I want a plan that says I'm going to, without fail, make an appointment today, hell or high water, and I don't know how long it's going to take, then I better plan however long it's going to take.
Those are people with no kids and no family.
Or with people who have made, because he's got kids, he's just,
I know, I'm just.
Call them
laughing at 'em.
babysitter, call them army babysitter army.
It's-
like, oh, I
it's
haven't
when
got
you've
this
made-
guy yet.
when you've made precautions around it,
Believe me.
right? It can get done. Everyone in this room, we all have stuff to do
Yeah.
outside of this. Yet if we were to say, hell or high water, we're in, let's do it 30 days from now, I bet all of us could get support or help on that front that says, we are locking these doors with a chain until all of us have an appointment. And we don't go home until all of us have it. I
And
guarantee all of us make an appointment.
What's your thoughts on if you're sitting there and you're calling and somebody says, hey, can you come over now? Or quickly, right, you know? I mean, that's, my opinion is that's about the only time I will absolutely figure out a way to put something together and get in front of them before somebody else does.
Yeah, I think you've got to take it a case by case. If that's a FSBO expired and they got someone coming over at 10 and they want you to come over at 8:30, I might do it at 8:30, right? If it's your A&W call that say come over now, but you know you can be like, yeah, now's not
No,
good.
right, I'm talking about somebody who's, that's about the only time I'll violate.
You've got to
that,
know,
drop.
you got to be able to call that audible. And that's again that choice. And what I love is everything that we hear and read, and MREA and CGI and Shift, that's like Frankenstein, right? Tim Hiles mentioned that. If you follow the red book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, to a T, your business is all jacked up like Frankenstein. That's 100 different people's best practices, not daily practices. And I think there's a little bit of that ebb and flow, and this is a good day and this is a bad day. This is a great week, this is a bad week. And if you must erase, you must replace, that's best practice. Are we committed to it? If we know we need to go, how many conversations do you need?
96.
That's appointments.
Oh, appointments. Oh, the conversations.
Or 1.5 appointments, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
a week.
So that's the result. This is what you would time block for. How many did you book last week?
1.
And did you replace it all day Saturday until you got that too?
No.
And that's where I think, including myself, we say if you must erase, you must replace. But then when we erase it, we never actually get around to replacing it. And it's like, do it or don't. If we want to have 50 conversations, and I moved it, instead of 10 a day, it's 50 a week. So ideally, if we just want to have 50 each per week, then by Wednesday, how many should we have?
30.
Should have 30. If we only have 10, I should probably look at my Thursday, Friday, and rearrange. And so instead of replacing it after the fact, we should replace it beforehand. I got you a second. It's almost like when we look at our Waze and you hit traffic. Before you actually get in the traffic, Waze says traffic's coming up ahead, take this detour. We know if our week's off to a good or bad start, don't we? Have you booked one this week?
No, not this week. I am.
So it's Wednesday. Is your Thursday and Friday set up to book 2? Right? And if it's not, we need to look at it going, we're already behind. Are we on track? So Deb and then Mariana.
Now, I was just saying, this is where this is one of my immediate goals, to start tracking your way of prospecting and what your results are. Because if you do get in crunch time, then you need to go back and say, okay, now I've got to do this kind of prospecting because I know that I'm going to have a better chance of reaching my goals by doing that. And I know I don't. I just basically get into this, but I need to do this and this to be able to get my numbers this year. And it's just, again, tracking those and finding out how I can.
Well, ultimately, that's kind of red light, green lighting. You're just saying, where's my best time and money spent?
Right.
We talk about red light, green light a lot with budget, but we can budget time.
Because you know what, I get so used to going through my database, and because that supposedly is your best return. So if you do just focus that, but then you need to go and say, okay, where am I going to get my expires or my FSBO list, and do my calls and time period and how many results versus door knocking. And I know in bold, that's what all I did is door knock, because I knew I'd get those contacts like that. But were they quality contacts and a better attempt of a lead, or just possibly somebody knowing who you are for a follow-up and down the road years later, maybe?
And that's to each their own, right? You've got to understand, like you said, you've got to identify it. You had a thought or a question?
No.
Well, and I started, I'm on day 5 of a 66-day challenge. By the way, how's your 66-day challenge going? You guys, we all talked about it at the beginning of the year.
Mine's going all right. I've only hit one speed bump.
What is it?
It's not fancy. It's
Doesn't
just
have
get
to
up early,
Okay.
earlier, and
Is there a time associated with earlier?
to me it's 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Only because I don't want to get up at 7 on Saturdays.
Okay.
So, and when I say every day, and my purpose for getting up is to take the dog for a walk.
Okay.
We've got an acre. I usually let him just go out and do his thing.
Now you're getting out there and getting some exercise.
And now I'm getting out there and getting some exercise.
How
And
many days
that's,
in a row?
this is the 16th. I missed 2 days.
Okay.
2 days back to back. One day was very cold and he wasn't feeling it.
Okay.
But I gave myself the credit anyway because I got up, I was dressed.
So the dog missed the challenge.
The
You're still on
dog
point.
missed the challenge,
You're on
but
point.
the purpose was for me to get up.
So you've gotten up 16
Yes.
days. You walked 14 days.
Correct. And I've hit the treadmill and I'm doing other things.
Good.
The purpose is to get out of bed and not just lay there and say, you know, it's 42 degrees outside. It's way warmer in here,
Right.
which is way easier to do
No doubt.
than getting up. So I think I've done well so far.
How'd you guys do it?
I think, mine's just been building up my consistency in lead genning, and particularly in the early part of the week. I'm all about, head down on Mondays and Tuesdays, and it's getting some payoff, right? I'm gonna get this new listing now, and
Yeah.
some other stuff put in. It just still needs to be what we just talked about, it's just keeping the focus. And for me though, some of it's also finding the right balance. So I think you had said something about maybe Fridays off and stuff, and that's kind of what I'm trying to set myself up for, not trying to, working towards the plan that says, hey, Fridays, kind of take that day off, and that way if I can do it now Saturday, Sunday, I get like a little breather.
Love it.
That's what
So I'm on day 6
I've done about 600 calls so far this month.
this month. Strong.
There could be 2,000 easy here, so I need to step it up.
Day 6 that I get dressed, I go out to the kitchen, I open the laptop, and I do the 10-10-3-1.
What's the 10, 10,
Yeah,
3,
that's a
1?
new one.
It's a new one. I learned this from
Make it up as we go.
Tony Wynn. I don't know where he got it from. I don't think it's a Keller thing. 10 gratitude statements.
Oh, I did hear
Is
this.
this a bowl?
Yes,
Hold
I
on a
did hear
second,
this.
I think this is the Tony that I talked to just 2 days ago.
Commercial broker out of Waterford.
Well, no,
TRG.
that's a different Tony then.
So 10 gratitude.
Oh, last week when you were at Waterford, that's when we talked about
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah. That was Tony.
Was that
Yeah,
Tony?
was Tony.
connection.
And I asked him, "Will you copy me on it?"
Yeah,
And since that day, I've done it.
Thomas Wayne.
Because
yes.
he copied me the next morning and I started.
And I think I wrote it down and forgot about it.
10
I'm gonna write it down.
gratitude, 10 affirmations. What's an affirmation? How do they start?
Salesperson.
How does it start?
I am.
I am.
Sam.
Present, present,
Whatever your I am statements.
yeah.
And your affirmations are, who do you aspire to be? And when you say it, I am, you condition yourself to say, I am this person. 3 things that made me happy yesterday. And what's one thing I'm going to do such that by doing it today, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary.
And as I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and emails this list to a friend in California or on the West Coast somewhere. And sometimes and then that friend does the same thing
Mhm.
when he gets up, and sometimes they respond and sometimes they don't.
Mhm.
And they do it every day.
So this morning, I got Tony's at 6:07.
So he is copying you on.
Mhm.
Okay.
He got mine at 6:17.
Okay.
It was a late day for me,
Okay.
right? I share it with my wife, I share it with Debbie, I share it with Tony, and now I've included my coach. I responded to Tony because his number one thing he was grateful for is having a heater and a warm bed.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2 thing that I was grateful for was heating the house because it's cold outside. But I was like, hey, we're grateful for heat. That's good. You Floridians.
Yeah.
What made me happy yesterday, spending a day with Christopher, getting her 2,248 postcards in the mail,
Wow.
and taking care of the boys last night because Leslie had a girls' night. And it makes you just reflect going, what made me happy? Now, some of those are what I'm grateful for. And affirmations, I'd say 6 of the 10 are probably the same thing every day.
It would have to be.
I'm a husband who puts the wants and needs of Leslie before my own. I'm a father who's patient and is teaching his boys to be great young men. I'm healthy, make healthy choices to put things in my body. I'm attracting talent every day from my actions, not my intentions. And then I start doing stuff. After I tell myself what am I grateful for and who am I going to become. It's really been it's been 6 days. It's been a neat way to just kind of, it's a cleanse. It says, the day's good. So Christopher, he's been pink eye, he's been pre-asthma, he's been cough, I had to take off work, I had to leave Monday, pick him up, do emergency up to the pediatrician, and all day I'm carting around yesterday. That could be easy for someone to go, woe is me, right? Poor Christopher, poor me. This helped me say I'm grateful if we have health insurance. This helped me say I'm grateful that he didn't have anything additional. It's still just the same. I'm grateful that I have a career that allows me to do that. I'm grateful that his school was able to call me and see this before it became too bad. All of a sudden, it took what could be a lemon, and I squeezed it a little bit. So this is my daily squeeze. Maybe I call it that, a daily squeeze.
My husband's grandmother always said, never said that it could be worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just gotta look at things, sometimes you have to look at things that way to find
That squeeze.
that squeeze.
When I thought about sharing this, because the last question is, what's one thing you're going to do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier and necessary? And if you can identify that for us at 5:30 to 6 a.m. or for someone else, whenever you do it, that's when you start. And yesterday was getting those doggone postcards in the mail. Like, that would be one thing I need to do. Today was have 10 real estate conversations. So I got to figure out, that's one thing of everything that's happening that would make everything else easier and necessary. Because that's a habit I need to start. Does that make sense? So if you have your question of what to do and where to go, ask yourself, what's the one thing? And so for Tony, whatever that answer is, he has in his time block, 8:30, do my one thing. And it changes every day for him. But if he identified at 6 a.m. what his one thing was, then he's blocked off at 8:30 every day doing it. Whether it's calling his mom and wishing her a happy birthday, or whether it's making 10 calls, whatever that might be. Does that make sense? And I love the purpose and intention this gives. Yeah.
Can your one thing be the same thing every day?
Sure. And it might be, because making 10 calls probably every day will be a one thing. And I could say brush teeth. If I've got some real bad gingivitis and I've got to go get my teeth pulled, right? Yet brushing teeth is now a habit. So I might not need to be intentionally focusing on brushing my teeth because it's
Okay,
happening.
so that's the thing you're intentionally focusing on. Okay.
Or you're
I don't know, I'm working, I'm day 6. That was me thinking out loud, going, once 10 calls a day becomes brushing
Habit is
teeth
not your, yeah.
habitually, then maybe my one thing will be 15 calls. Or maybe my one thing will be go interview 3 candidates for an assistant. Right? Whatever's going to push me forward for that. At the end of the day, yesterday would have been a great day to take 10 calls. And I had 2,500 postcards I'm staring at that needed to get out. I can't let those delay until next week.
Right?
that's a fire.
Well, that becomes actually,
Yeah.
I could throw in the fire at that point.
Well, no.
Because it's
today-
timestamped for this Saturday.
Right, it's,
Right? It's urgent.
it's urgent and important.
Yeah. So that's where it did change, because at the end of the day, what would you have rather done? Not make the calls or not get those postcards to the event?
No, you gotta get the postcards out.
Now, if I make that decision every week, how am I doing? So over time, the more I delay, making calls is important, correct? That's perfect. You said important and urgent. Making calls is important. You guys have seen this before? I know
Yes.
Debbie has.
And it's hard, this one is a challenge for me.
Who's not seen this before? Okay. So I got this from Entree Leadership, Dave Ramsey. And he probably got it from somewhere else. Everything we do should be able to categorically be in one of four boxes, excuse me. Things that are both urgent and important. Fires. Postcards to time-sensitive events. This is where chaos ensues. When you're constantly doing important, urgent things. I gotta do it. I gotta do it today. Ron, don't talk to me. Or you're working later than you like to. Or you're letting people down because you didn't get it done on time. Make sense? Most realtors will live here. Everything I'm doing is important. And I gotta do that. If it's not important yet it's urgent, these are what we would call the time sucks. I gotta talk to you. I gotta talk to you right now. It's important. It's not really important. It's urgent because you feel like it's a now thing, right? When I get an email this morning from the LinkedIn that says, hey, we missed you. Come back for our free account. Expires in 24 hours. They just made that urgent, didn't it? Expires in 24 hours to get free access. Is it really that important? Probably not. Yeah, how many of us might go, ooh, shiny object, and go down that bunny trail for 15 minutes? A lot of us do, right? When you see these, all the sponsored thing on Facebook, Facebook becomes urgent. I gotta check what's going on. I gotta check the notifications. I got like 9 little red numbers down on Facebook. Who's contacting me? I gotta find out. Anyone else guilty of that?
Sure.
Right? That's urgent. Is it really that important?
Yeah.
Well, for me
It
it is.
depends.
Yeah.
It's all
Could be an
relative.
opportunity for you,
If
yeah.
your business is coming out of
Right.
Facebook, then yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is not a one-size-fits-all. This is our own decision.
That would relate to us not returning a phone call if we're making phone calls all day. So yes.
This is important stuff. It's not urgent. This is where productivity and proactive happens. This would be your 10 calls today. If you didn't make your A&W calls yesterday, Vince, would they have been like, he's dead to me. He did not call me on January
It
15th.
didn't matter, yeah.
He's done.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
To
have
them.
mattered. There's no urgency to that on their end. Because if you would have called next week, you might have still gotten that Tampa lead.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yet it's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is where we're productive. This is where we're proactively productive. And over here is neither, and this is just easy. This is stuff that you're like, not even on my radar. I don't care about it. I don't know about it. It's like, sometimes stuff falls into our plate like that. Spam, junk. How many times you guys go through your email and be like, don't need that, don't need that. It's not important, it's not urgent. Don't need that.
Every day.
So we get them. We just gotta be like, don't, right? So this is where you might say the 10 calls is right here. Now, if I continually ignore and snooze this thing, and snooze, what eventually happens to these things?
Urgent.
They move up here. Hence, chaos. If all of a sudden, it's the end of the month, and I don't have any appointments or any listings happening, and it's the 25th, how's the rest of my month look if I'm truly committed?
Crazy.
Pretty chaotic.
Right.
Because had I just done the important stuff on a regular basis, it'd be smooth sailing. But I kept just snoozing, maybe taking care of too much of this stuff, which stopped me from doing this stuff. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is that reminder of going, you've got to take care of this. And this will hijack this because they are both important, yet one has urgency, one doesn't. It will always take care of it. If we were to actually, what an exercise we call the brain dump, right? You guys ever heard that? Everything that you have that mental checklist in your head, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, brain dump it out and put it in one of these 4 boxes. And as you brain dump it, just write it here. Like, is this urgent? Is this important? Is this both? Is this neither? And all of a sudden you can prioritize it by doing box 1, box 2, rinse and repeat.
I think that's where I have frequently ran into a hiccup is determining what is truly important and what's not, and what's truly urgent and what's not.
A great question that you can, if you need help with, is it on the left side or right side? Is it important or not? By doing this action, will it move me closer or further away from my goal? Right? By walking every morning, you have a goal associated with health. Will that move you closer or further away to that goal? Then it's important. Right? Now, walking every day it's not all that urgent. It's going to become a habit, but if you don't walk today, it's not like, okay, here comes the stroke. Right? You got time. Now, somebody who might have just had a stroke, all of a sudden, you've got to go do it, or you're not going to see your next birthday. That just became urgent. Someone wants to quit smoking. It's not urgent until they get lung cancer, or whatever cancer, or whatever happens becomes urgent in your life. Right? So that's where you've got to have that own. The book that we're starting a book club on, we're meeting on Tuesdays at 12, starting 8 days from now, is Atomic Habits. I just got the mail yesterday. I've not opened it yet. I intend to be part of that.
What is it called?
Atomic Habits. James Cleary, I believe, is the author. So reading the first 50 pages. And it kind of rolls into this and everything we've been talking about of who are you, not who do you want to be, with the affirmations. And I love the example he said of two people. Do you smoke? Smoke? So neither of you smoke. So you guys are both smokers now for this example. You both have a goal in 2019 to stop smoking. You think there's people out there right now that says, I'm going to stop smoking? And now I offer you both a cigarette, and you give me two different answers. One says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. Common response? Now, do you smoke? Would you like a cigarette?
No.
What would you tell me?
Hell no.
Because
They're disgusting.
I don't smoke. So I'm trying to quit versus I don't smoke associates I'm still a smoker trying to quit.
Yeah, there's a positive affirmation.
As opposed to associating I'm not a smoker. Right? So smokers trying to quit still associates them I am a smoker trying to quit. Not I don't smoke. I am not a smoker. So not I am going to try to lead generate because you're associating yourself with someone who doesn't, who's going to try. Make sense? That was like I like that.
I like that too.
How are we associating ourselves versus who are we trying to be? Because every time we say I try to be this person, we're subconsciously telling us we're not. I'm going to try to be healthy. You unhealthy slug.
And then, when you argue through your limitations, they become yours, so they were, like, others are looking at you as being a smoker, as opposed to being a non-smoker.
Or if I smoke, and I want to go outside with somebody and smoke because it's cold and I want to go chat, and you say I don't smoke, am I going to convince someone who doesn't smoke to become a smoker for me? No. But I might go, come on, it's just one. What's one more? It won't hurt you. Right? Now I'm going to be like, come on, I'm like a little devil on your shoulder. Right? So, no, I'm trying to lead gen every day from 9 to 10. Versus no, I do nothing but lead gen every day from 9 to 10. Right? And so, no, I'm real trying, but come on, what's 30 minutes? Just do this real quick for me. As opposed to, I don't do it, I'd be like, okay, let's not mess up that routine. Right? So that's something that I believe this is helping with because it says, I lead gen every day at 9 o'clock. I am a type of person, I am healthy. And I put healthy things in my body. Therefore, when I order food, and this has happened in the past 5 days, I've gotten salads instead of fries, I've gotten grills instead of fried, I've gotten soups instead of breads. It's like, because I told myself this morning, I was like, I'm healthy, I put healthy things in my body. I've got to do it, because I'm a liar. Right? So this is really starts with like, good. Well, it's 9 o'clock, so let's recap, unpack, aha moments, and action plans.
Healthier food in your body.
No, just that whole concept was a big aha.
So the affirmation, stop trying and start being.
Yeah, and the whole, and be rather than try.
Be do have.
Got it?
Good.
I like that a lot too. I think that 10-10-3-1, I mean, I can think of a million people, well, no, 3 that I'd like to share that with and go back and forth with it.
Tony told me about this probably 3 years ago.
Bruce one.
I was like, oh, that's really cool. Wow, probably a lot like you doing right now. Well, that's really cool. And then I talked to him again, like, what's that thing you do in the morning? It's a ritual of 10 something. He says it again. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. And until I actually said, copy me on it. Put me on an email. And sometimes I don't think I've read all 24 of his things. I'll be like, skim. Cool, he did it. Now I'm going to go do it.
Well, now you're accountable. Because I mean, he might not be looking for it, but to an extent, you said, hey, tag me in and I'll play too.
You know what, and I agree with that, and I love him for this, was there's no judgment. The first 3 went to his spam. He didn't know I didn't do it back. And there was no judgment. He didn't call me out. He didn't say, he didn't do anything. Right? So, whoever you send it to, don't be attached to the outcome.
Right.
I'm sharing it with my wife and with Debbie, because those are 2 people in my life that need to know what's going on in my head. I share it with him, almost as that gratitude back. And now I share it with my coach. And I asked her, I said, I get you coach a lot of people, and we're going to talk every week. I'll send it to you this every day, and you can ignore it, you can keep it, you can say no thank you. And she says, I want to get to know you as fast as possible. Bring it on. And I'm not going to say, did you read it? I'm not going to be attached to the outcome.
I think we all in this office need to have somebody that we send this to every day.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the energy this office would have if everybody who walked in the doors did this before they walked in?
And preferably somebody you don't know.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because you have not attached to the outcome basically, but the point is, it's sharing with others that you don't know how you can possibly end up impacting them and inspiring them. I don't care if they're a mega agent or not, but it's just, we have a tendency to hang out with those we feel comfortable with, and I think maybe forgive those that we know more if we forget to do stuff. You know, it's just a combination of both.
Then I think you're attaching yourself to the outcome again. Because if you send it to me and you know me, and you don't do it, I'm not going to hardship you for it. This is my thing. This isn't Debbie's thing. If I don't do it, Debbie comes in and says, why didn't you do it? I'm like, this is a me thing. So I think that's attached to the outcome of, if and when Debbie chooses to do it, then our team becomes that much more stronger. Right? If you and Chuck choose to do it, but if you do it and always copy Chuck, and he never does it, nor does he read it, that's not the point.
I guess I was thinking about him and the
So what
fact
is
that
it?
we probably would verbalize things versus
Internal.
share it or text it to each other because we see each other more. You know, I guess it's more of that.
The point isn't for me to tell everyone how great I am.
Write it down.
It's for you to process it.
The point
this
is,
you.
it's a mental exercise.
Right, this is your self-talk. This isn't.
What's that?
So,
I share it to inspire.
Right. Well, and there's also, it's confirmation, when you type it out and hit send, it's confirmation. It's not, you're not just thinking it, it's done, it's out there in the universe now.
Yeah, otherwise I could just share it with Tony, and that'd be fine, yet I thought, this is pretty cool. I'm gonna share it with Debbie and Leslie. I'm gonna share it with the class on Wednesday morning.
It's like the difference between stating your dreams and goals and writing them down.
Right.
Yep. Mariana, what is my mastermind schedule moving forward?
We are going to have twice a month will be mastermind with you, and twice a month mastermind with Nikki for the next month or so until we figure out who else would
Wasn't
be
it just
interested
2
in.
a month, and then one was him and one was Nikki?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't it just 2 a month?
Oh, that's
One
right.
was him
That-
and one was Nikki.
Yeah, that,
So I'm one a month?
you're one a month,
Nikki's one a month?
correct, until we get to a point where other people will be.
So you want you want it weekly again with the rotation of 4?
Bi-weekly.
Right now it's bi-weekly, but you said to a point of getting more people.
If the interest is there and the attention, and the attendance is there, yeah.
I think you'd be a great facilitator. I think you could lead one once a month. You have a lot to offer. And with interest, this is a pretty good turnout, comparatively speaking, and it's been like this since it became slightly chilly. Summertime, we had like 15, 20 people. How many people are online? We're gonna have 5 or 6.
I'll ask that
Yeah,
question,
6.
I'll ask that question of the,
Yeah.
the entire team today at the
Okay.
meeting.
Oh, you have a meeting today?
No,
Oh, the team meeting,
it's
gotcha.
team meeting, yeah.
Yeah, I think the interest will be there, even if it's there for the 5 of you. Because there's 6 or 7 other people, and like Leah Newth has mentioned, she loves waking up on Wednesdays
Yeah.
and watching this. So, and honestly, and I've thought about this, once a week I want to make sure it's always fresh and real content, and it's not always just, here's my head. So I think once a month gives me like my recap, which would be nice. Yet it always strengthens me to get up here and just talk to you guys, because
Right.
I'm exposing myself. Like, this is what we're not doing. This is how I'm thinking about overcoming it, right? So it'll make you a stronger agent as well.
Well, that's why I come here, I try to come here
But
as
you
much
do.
as possible.
You associate
because
yourself
I'm
with the comer.
always- Yeah, I always can brainstorm different frustrations and see what other people are doing at
Yeah.
the same time and little tweaking and things like that, so. Keep them going as far as I'm concerned. I think that it's great if we can get more people either here physically or online, because we all can learn something. I mean, online, I think you get more distractions. You can get up and get a cup of coffee or go to the bathroom or get something to eat or whatever.
Go to the bathroom if you want.
But the point is, being in here, you kind of can
You're
interact
engaging.
and really absorb.
We're having conversations here.
Right, right.
Okay, well, it is 9:07. We've done this for an hour.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks so much.
Love it.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome.